Thank you for watching. One of the things that Kent Hovind is right about is that all over the world, every time a farmer plants his crops, every time an animal farmer has a new animal born to his herd or gaggle or whatever the word is for the group, an experiment is being performed. An experiment which has disproven the hypothesis, the belief, the religion of evolutionism. Or at least it hasn't proven it, which leaves that belief without any proof. Feel free to believe what you want, but don't claim you have scientific proof of something that you don't have scientific proof of. It feels like it's not pointed at me. But there was a person in the comments section who wrote, no, that isn't an exact quote, but he claimed that it's not an experiment when a farmer plants his crops, or when a farmer encourages his livestock to breed and mate, because it does not have all of the formal steps of an experiment. A formal experiment has a baseline, a blind study, very meticulous recording. And Kent Hovind's not saying that farmers follow all of those steps, but how are you defining an experiment? I say that the farmers are performing an experiment, albeit an informal one. As long as you are seeing what happens and recording it, do something, see what happens, record it, you are performing an experiment. And of course the farmers are recording what is happening because they're selling it. And a farmer who planted wheat and is selling strawberries, he's going to be confused and he's going to make note of it. A farmer who thought he was going to have a whole bunch of chickens come out of the eggs and has lizards come out, he's going to record it. So to the person who claimed that it's not an experiment if it's not formal and doesn't follow all the formal steps, does everything have to be formal? Do you acknowledge there's informal versions of things? Like sports, if you go to the park and you see people playing basketball out on the blacktop, would you say they are not engaging in a sport or playing a sport because they do not have a referee, a team of referees, and a timekeeper? Of course they're playing a sport. It's not formal, there's not a coach, referee, timekeeper. But so what? It's still a sport because they are doing the things that are that sport. In the case of the park and basketball, they're bouncing the ball, throwing the ball, trying to get it into the hoop. And that makes it the sport of basketball. You know, people hitting a tennis ball at the park over the tennis net. Even if they don't have all the line judges there to make it a formal tennis event, they're still playing tennis. They're still playing a sport, albeit informally. A bunch of kids, a large enough group of kids to make up 2 baseball teams. If they find a place to play, are they not playing the sport of baseball because they don't have a bunch of referees, umpires, line judges? The umpire's one behind the plate. What do they call the ones down by first and third? Well, of course, they're still playing the sport if they're throwing the ball and hitting the ball and trying to run the bases. Bible studies. Now, maybe the person who wrote that farmers are not doing an experiment doesn't like Bible studies, but there's such a thing as a formal Bible study where it's announced in advance. It's in the church bulletin, and people know when it's going to be, and they can go to it. That's a Bible study. I went to a formal Baptist Bible study in Atlantic City. It was interesting. I'm glad I went to it. But if two people get together and they're talking about stuff, the Bible, is that also not a Bible study, albeit an informal one, if they're talking about the Bible, looking at the Bible? Now, on to books that are secular, not religious. There are such things as formal book clubs where it's announced in advance. Maybe there's a membership fee, maybe there isn't, but it's planned out far in advance, announced in advance. And people get together to talk about the book that is the subject of the book club. Well, would you say that two friends who happen to be reading the same book, oh, you're reading that one too? Let's talk about it. In chapter 1 I like this, in chapter 2 I didn't like that. Did those two hypothetical friends just have a book club? Or is there only formal book clubs and never an informal book club? We can't call it a book club unless it follows every single last step of a formal book club. The debate that I had with you, in case you end up watching this video, who says that farmers aren't doing an experiment if they don't follow every single formal step. Did we have a debate? Or are we not allowed to use the word debate unless we have all of these steps of a formal debate? A formal debate would have a debate moderator and timekeeper and a very structured format for how many minutes everyone gets to speak. Did we not debate because we did not follow those formal debate steps? Of course we debated in the comments section when you exhibited very bad logic and denied the fact that farmers do informal experiments. I won our informal debate because I just did, because it is an experiment if you're seeing what happens, if you're paying attention to what happens. You have a good day. Thank you for watching this video where we talked about the difference between formal and informal things and how an informal way of doing something still is doing that thing.